Hey guys, welcome to this session by Intellipaat. In this live session, we'll be looking into what's new in AWS 2021. That is, right now we are in the December month, and whatever new things which are getting introduced right now will be continued obviously in the year 2021. And we'll be looking at some of the exciting things which happened in AWS in this year, which is 2020. So now let's start off with the agenda. So we'll start off with why and what is AWS briefly. That's not the actual part of this session, so I'll just give a brief about that in around 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll look at what's new in AWS, some various facts, and what are the new services which got brought in 2020, what are the services which got better, and there are some new services you'll have to know as well. And also we'll look at some of the companies who are spending, how much they are spending in AWS, and everything which happened in 2020 across the world for AWS. So that's what is the actual theme of this session. So that's what we'll be looking into. So now, how to get started would be the last part of this session. That basically just covers how you can get started with AWS or any technology you want to. So I'll just give you a brief guidance over there. So now let's start off with it. Why AWS or why any cloud tool? So the first thing is, cloud computing is obviously better than an on-premise setup. There might be a debate going on about the security, but right now security of cloud computing data centers are increasing every year, and that is basically making a lot of companies move from an on-premise setup to a cloud setup. And over here, this particular diagram or this particular chart from Forbes proves that. Over here you can see today was actually 2019, so from 37% it went to 27% in 2020. Public cloud from 31% it went to 41% in 2020. So basically people are moving from an on-premise setup to a cloud-based setup. So now the top three companies are AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud. So they alone account for 56% of the entire cloud market. So you can see in 2019, at the end of 2019, it was 32.6%. Right now, Google has 32%. Azure has the same, it has 17%, Google has 6%. Okay, so the rest is other cloud tools like IBM Cloud, there is VMware, so all of that, Ali Cloud, that combined. So now this basically shows that cloud is developing or it is growing every year, and AWS is always the top of that chain. So now I just also wanted to give you this, why AWS. So the average salary of an AWS architect in the USA, it's $113,000 per annum. In India, it's 6.27 lakhs per annum. And in UK, it's 60,000 pounds per annum. So I got this data from Payscale and Glassdoor.com. They're valuable data. So if you are getting into AWS, these are the numbers you might be expecting. These are the average numbers, not the highest or the lowest numbers. It can go a lot higher if you become a senior architect or you handle a group of architects. Okay, so now this is just why AWS, because it's the top cloud provider and it can give you a lot of benefits and a high salary. So the next thing is, what is AWS? So AWS is a cloud provider which its users basically it provides its users a wide range of services via internet. So any service which is provided via internet is a cloud service. So that's what exactly AWS does. So now according to AWS, they have 1 million plus customers right now. And one more interesting fact is that 33% of all websites you visit on the internet are hosted on AWS. That basically means you have a chance of visiting a site hosted by AWS. For example, if you just open 3 sites in a day, in that one of the site might be hosted on AWS. So there is a very good chance of that. So I'm not going to explain much about AWS because you wouldn't have come into this session if you already knew what is AWS. You just wanted to know what's new about AWS in 2021. So now these are the major domains which AWS concentrates on. So it concentrates on compute services, database services, storage, migration, customer engagement, security, management and governance, and networking and content delivery. So these are the major service domains which AWS concentrates on. So now again, I'm not going to go in depth with all these topics. So compute in the sense they provide you servers, database, they provide you database engines which are hosted online, storage, again they provide you cloud storage. So like that, all the other services are cloud services provided by AWS. So I think you got the point about why AWS. So let me just brief it again before moving on to what's new in AWS. First, AWS is the number one cloud provider according to the market share and the growth rate. AWS basically hosts 1 out of 3 websites on the internet. That basically means any company you're looking into might be using AWS and you can get a job easily. It provides a high salary as well. So now let's start with the main part of this session, which is what's new in AWS. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the availability zones, because whenever a company wants to go global, when they're using a cloud service, they'll basically look for a cloud provider who has an impact globally, who can reach every single country in the world. So that is done exactly by AWS. So AWS has 77 availability zones in 24 different geographical regions. So geographical regions in the sense different countries and different locations in countries, and they have 77 different data centers running across the entire globe. Okay, so this basically means if you are having an application and want to host it from your country, let's say you're in India and you're hosting an application for India, but right now your application is growing pretty well and you want to move your customer base into a little bit of Southeast Asia, let's say Singapore and some areas of let's say Japan or something, so you can move your applications architecture to those data centers as well. And right now, as of 2020 December, they have 77 availability zones and they are continuously growing. Next is the Gartner report on cloud services. So I already told you Amazon Web Services are the top leaders in the cloud provider platform. So now, according to the Magic Quadrant of 2020, AWS are in the top right corner, which basically means that they are the best in what they do. So they are leaders and visionaries. Basically, what they are telling is that in terms of execution and in terms of completeness of what exactly they have to do or their vision, they are the top among all the other 7 vendors which are named over here. So Amazon Web Services is the top right. Next comes Microsoft, then Google, then Alibaba Cloud, Oracle, IBM, and Tencent Cloud. So now again, this is the 2020 Magic Quadrant and AWS tops that as well. And coming to the next part, which is something exciting, which are local zones. So local zones is not a 2020 thing, but the first local zone was launched in December last year, that is 2019 December in Los Angeles, and in August of 2020 another local zone got launched in Los Angeles itself. So first of all, let me give you a brief about what is a local zone. So you have an idea about a region and an availability zone, right? So a region is a location in which AWS has its data centers. In that particular region, the AWS has multiple data centers. It can have 3 or more data centers in the same location. So now local zones are not basically covering a huge area. Local zones are a type of AWS infrastructure deployment that basically places all the available resources provided by AWS like compute, storage, databases to select services close to large population industry and IT centers. So basically the local zones especially concentrates around the city and around a large population where there is an industry or there are IT centers which they can collaborate with to bring the application speed really up. So they just wanted to reduce the latency of the applications. While you're using a local zone, the people in the city can actually use the application in really fast speeds. So that is the main motive of an AWS local zone. So now you can basically extend your VPC into a local zone as well. So let's say you are having your AWS VPC in one region, let's say North Virginia in USA, and right now you want to move it to a local zone. So you can do that by enabling AWS local zones in your console, and you can build your applications and run them on both the actual data center and also the local zone to give a faster access to the people in that city who are constantly using that application. Okay, so this is a new feature and it's getting popular right now because they already opened 3 in December 1st. So they're going to launch 3 more and it has already been done, and they are going to bring 12 more new local zones in 2021. So local zones are increasing. So right now they are concentrating on USA, and once it is successfully established in USA, they'll bring local zones to other countries as well. Now, the best services came out in 2020. Best AWS services which came out in 2020. So there is Amazon Honeycode, there is Code Guru, there is Snowcone, and IoT Sitewise. Now coming to Honeycode, it basically allows the customers or the clients to basically build mobile and web applications. So you don't need to write any code, but it helps you build mobile and web applications. So it basically helps you bypassing hiring developers. Instead, you can just do the simplest tasks. Let's say you want to email your Excel files to someone and automate that. You can do it with Honeycode, and you can do it without the help of a developer. You can do it by yourself. That's exactly the purpose of Honeycode, and it's a new service which came out in 2020. Next is Code Guru. So it's basically powered using machine learning. So it basically helps the developers to create better applications by providing automated recommendations. So basically, let's say you have your Java code or your Python code or whatever code it is on Code Guru. So now while you're having that code in Code Guru analyzes it and gives you recommendations of how to improve your code or how to remove certain lines of code which could be expensive for the application. Next comes Snowcone. So there was Snowball and Snowmobile previously. So Snowball was a bigger box where you can load data from your own on-premise setup and you can just ship it to AWS and they'll upload it in the AWS data centers. And there was Snowmobile, which was basically a truck with servers and storage units within it, and you can upload your entire on-premise data into that and it'll again get shipped to the AWS architecture. So like that, AWS have introduced a new tool called Snowcone. So it is basically the smallest member of the Snow line. So there is Snowmobile, which is the largest one. There is Snowball, the intermediate, and right now this is the smallest one, which is Snowcone. So it's basically, again, it's a portable device and it has rugged edge computing. It can be used for collecting, processing, and transferring data to the AWS cloud from disconnected environments outside traditional data centers. So basically you can buy or order this from AWS, and once it arrives, you can basically copy the data from your traditional data centers and send it back to AWS, and they'll basically take it and upload it to your AWS storage. Next, finally comes IoT Sitewise. So now IoT Sitewise is a managed service. It basically collects data from sensors and industrial equipments, whatever it is, whatever service or whatever tool you name it, it'll collect data from it, and it'll basically help the customers who are using IoT Sitewise to make better business decisions. So basically it's a recommendation engine for IoT. So now customers can use AWS IoT Sitewise to also monitor the operations occurring at those IoT facilities, and it can prevent costly equipment issues and also the production gaps, because it provides you data in real time and you can understand where the problem exists and you can correct it in real time. So these are 4 new exciting services provided by AWS in the year 2020, which are going to get carried over to 2021 because Honeycode is still in beta and soon it will become the official version. Code Guru, IoT Sitewise, Snowcone are already available, which are currently in usage, and these are some of the new tools. There are also so many other new services. There are so many other new features within applications itself. For example, EC2 released new set of instance types, so you can go check that out because they keep releasing new instance types each and every month. You can just go check that out and I'll show you exactly where you can check it out as well. So now the monthly spending on EC2. So this is just the spending on a single AWS service, EC2, and I've just put in the top 4 companies who are using EC2 right now. So Netflix is using EC2 and they're paying around $19 million per month just using EC2 because Netflix uses more than 100,000 servers at any given point in time. So they'll be using 100,000 servers plus in any given point in time because they have a large customer base and they'll have to provide fast and quick streaming services to every one of them. So next comes Twitch. Again, it's a live streaming platform, and obviously it needs a lot of server compute power, and in that case they are paying $15 million. LinkedIn, a huge job portal, and also connecting multiple people across the same or different skills. So it pays $13 million. And Facebook, we already know what Facebook is, and it pays $11 million for EC2 each month. So these are the top competitors, or these are the top companies who are using AWS EC2, and obviously use other services as well, because if they're using EC2, they would need other services to accommodate it, and they're obviously spending a lot on AWS, and that basically means AWS is worth it instead of an on-premise setup. And finally, I wanted to discuss the certification path, because there is a new arrival, that is database. So in 2020, the new arrival of certification was database, and the big data certification in specialty turned into a data analytics certification. So rest of all are the same. So solutions architect and professional solutions architect is the same. SysOps admin, developer, DevOps engineer, cloud practitioner, advanced networking, security, machine learning, Alexa skill builder are all the same certifications. And though there are some new additions, for example, in AWS Solutions Architect Associate, they introduced a second, let's say a new update. For example, they were using a single set of topics, they were using a single set of guidelines for solutions architect examinations. They introduced a new set of tools which has to be included as well. So that basically gets updated every year. And right now you can see database is the newest addition in AWS certification path. So again, you can go ahead and take up the AWS database examination from now on. And this is the newest addition. That's what I wanted to basically tell you in the certification path. Again, you can check out the certification page. Solutions architect, SysOps admin, and developer are the most commonly taken certifications, and they are still the best certifications in AWS according to me. Unless and until you've completed these two are the best certifications in AWS. Or if you are basically interested in a particular niche like security or machine learning, you can go ahead with the specialty certification. So I think we covered all of the newest additions. So one last thing I wanted to show is where you can actually get the newest information about AWS. So the right location is this web page, which basically is aws.amazon.com/new. And once you hit this, you get this what's new with AWS. You can see all the 2020 announcements over here. What's new in 2020? So you can see AWS Transit Gateway. Inter-region peering is now available in Middle East, Africa, Asia Pacific, and Europe, in all these newest regions. And coming down, you can see there is some update in IoT site-wise. Amazon Connect reduces 10 Latin America telephony rates. Amazon Mission Images now support tag on create and tag based access control. Yeah, so these are the newest arrivals. So you can see AWS EBS, Amazon EBS now supports SAP workloads. So there are all the newest information which are basically arranged in the latest date format. For example, you can see December 7, that was yesterday. December 4. So basically it's arranged in the newest first format. So this is where you can get the newest information. If you want to get information about a specific tool or a specific AWS service, then get down to this page. For example, I want to know what's happening in AWS EC2. So I can go to compute, select EC2, and it will only show the newest additions for EC2. So the newest addition for EC2 was, I think this is an American date format, which is 1st December. So on 1st December, they announced M5ZN instances with high frequency processors and 100 gigabytes per second networking. So this is the newest addition. And for EKS, EC2, they also included an RB5 instance type, D3 and D3EN instance type. And one of the most important thing, or one of the most welcomed new addition was the Mac instances. Basically, Amazon EC2 are introducing Mac OS on AWS. So you can basically run an Apple computer on AWS and start using it. And if you're an Apple developer, you can basically get all the benefits of using AWS and also develop Apple applications for macOS or iOS or iWatch, Apple Watch or Apple TV, whatever it is, and you can basically develop it on AWS itself. So that is the newest update, and I think it will be available in North Virginia, Ohio, Oregon, Ireland, Singapore. So these are the 5 regions which Mac instances are available right now. And if you want to go check out Mac instances, go to these regions and create one and check it out for yourself. Okay, I think I've pretty much covered it. So now finally, how to get started. So you might have this question about all technologies. Let's say you are interested in a particular technology and you want to learn it and you're confused on how to start with it. First, I would say go with all the resources available on the internet. Go check out our blog, intellipaat.com/blog. You'll get all the latest blogs on all the technologies you need: cloud computing, blockchain, machine learning, data science, artificial intelligence, digital marketing. So you can get blogs on all of these topics and you can start learning from there. We have tutorials on AWS as well. You can go check that out. And on our YouTube channel, which you are watching this particular live right now, you can basically go ahead and check out the AWS or Azure or artificial intelligence courses which we have for free, and you can start learning from there. Also, if you want to learn professionally, if you want to learn from actual professionals who are working as a cloud engineer or an AWS solutions architect right now, and you want to learn from them, just contact us at these numbers over here. This is for India and this is for US or any other country. So this number is only for India and this number is for any other country who want to contact us. If you have any doubts, you can call us about your career or certifications. You can call us or drop a mail to sales@intellipaat.com or open our website intellipaat.com. In that bottom right corner, you'll get a chat or a course advisor. You can start chatting over there and we'll contact you immediately. Also guys, subscribe to our channel if you like our content, and also leave a like on the video. That will basically urge us to make more videos and keep going. Also, as I told you, please subscribe so that we'll be uploading more upcoming videos and you don't have to miss them. So thank you. Meet you in another session.